The Pregnant Woman. My name is Sarah Thompson. I'm 29 years old. This is the story of the most surprising, frightening, and beautiful time in my life. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. After college, I moved to the city to work as a nurse. I loved my job, but it was stressful. The hospital was always busy, and my shifts were long. 2 years ago, I met Mark. He worked in the maintenance department. He was kind, patient, and always had a gentle smile. We became friends first, and slowly, that friendship turned into love. We married in a small ceremony with just our families. We rented a little apartment close to the hospital and started our life together. At first, we weren't in a hurry to have children. We wanted to save money, travel, and enjoy being a couple. But sometimes, life doesn't wait for perfect timing. One morning in late March, I woke up feeling strange. My head hurt, my body felt tired, and there was a queasy feeling in my stomach I couldn't shake. "Maybe you had a flu," Mark said as he poured me some orange juice. "Maybe," I replied. But inside, I knew it felt different. A few days passed, and the feeling didn't go away. My appetite changed. I was tired all the time. Little smells, like the soap in the bathroom or the coffee Mark brewed in the morning, made me feel sick. On the fourth day, I sat on the edge of the bed and took a deep breath. "I think I need to take a test," I told Mark. He looked up, surprised. "You mean?" "Yes," I whispered. "I think I might be pregnant." Mark drove me to the pharmacy. I bought 2 pregnancy tests just to be sure. My hands were shaking as I carried the small box to the counter. When we got home, I went straight to the bathroom. The minutes felt endless as I waited. I closed my eyes, thinking about everything. Our small apartment, our busy jobs, our plans for the future. Then I looked at the test. 2 pink lines. I took a deep breath. My heart was pounding. Mark knocked softly on the door. "Sarah?" I opened it. My eyes filled with tears. "It's positive," I said. His face went pale. Then he broke into a slow, amazed smile. He pulled me into a hug. "Wow," he whispered. "We're going to have a baby." I nodded, unable to speak. My feelings were mixed. Joy, fear, hope, and worry, all together in my chest. We sat on the couch, holding hands. "I know this is sudden," he said, "but we'll figure it out." I looked into his eyes and felt a little calmer. "Yes," I said softly, "we will." The next week was a blur. I made an appointment with my doctor, Dr. Patel. She confirmed what we already knew. I was 6 weeks pregnant. "You'll need to start prenatal vitamins," she explained, "and it's important to rest and eat well." I nodded, feeling a little dizzy. When we got home, Mark printed out a checklist he found online. Things to do when you're expecting. He taped it to the refrigerator like it was the most important thing in the world. "Step 1, he said seriously, pointing to the list, "is to take care of you." I laughed, even though I still felt nervous. That night, we called our families. My mom cried with happiness. Mark's parents were thrilled. "It's going to be okay," I kept telling myself. But when I lay in bed, I felt a wave of worry. What if something went wrong? What if I wasn't ready to be a mother? Mark turned off the light and wrapped his arm around me. "I'm scared," I whispered. "Me too," he admitted. "But we'll learn together." And in that moment, I knew we would. The first trimester was harder than I expected. I felt tired all the time. Sometimes I would come home from the hospital, take off my scrubs, and fall asleep on the couch before dinner. Mark did everything he could to help. He cooked simple meals, cleaned the apartment, and brought me tea when I felt sick. One evening, I was lying on the sofa with a cold cloth on my forehead. I hadn't been able to keep much food down all day. Mark sat next to me and took my hand. "I wish there was more I could do," he said softly. "You're doing everything," I whispered. I meant it. Even though I felt miserable, I was grateful for him. When the nausea eased, I started to feel little changes in my body. My belly grew rounder, my clothes got tighter, and my heartbeat seemed faster than before. At 12 weeks, we went back to Dr. Patel for an ultrasound. I lay on the table as she moved the small device across my stomach. "There's your baby," she said with a warm smile. On the screen, a tiny shape appeared. Small arms, a round head, a beating heart. I covered my mouth with my hand. "Oh," I whispered, tears filling my eyes. Mark squeezed my shoulder. "That's amazing." In that moment, the fear faded a little. I felt a sudden, fierce love for the small life growing inside me. As the weeks passed, I started to feel better. The sickness eased, and my energy slowly returned. Mark and I began preparing the apartment. We turned the small guest room into a nursery. We painted the walls soft yellow. Mark built a white crib. One Saturday afternoon, I sat in the middle of the room folding tiny onesies and socks. "They're so small," I said, smiling. Mark leaned against the doorframe, watching me. "I can't believe there's going to be a little person here soon," he said. I nodded, feeling my heart swell. At night, we lay in bed talking about names. "I like Emma," I said. "For a girl?" "Yes." "And if it's a boy?" He thought for a moment. "What about Noah?" I repeated the names softly, letting them roll around in my mind. Emma or Noah? It made everything feel real. At 20 weeks, we had another ultrasound. Dr. Patel smiled as she moved the probe. "Would you like to know the gender?" she asked. Mark and I looked at each other. "Yes," I said. She paused, studying the screen. "It's a girl," she announced. I felt a rush of joy. "A girl," I whispered. Mark kissed my forehead. Later, when we got home, we sat in the nursery holding hands. "I guess Emma it is," he said, grinning. I laughed. "Emma Thompson. I love it." That night, I lay in bed with my hand resting on my belly, feeling her tiny movements for the first time. She was real. Our daughter. And I knew, no matter how scared I was, I would love her with everything I had. By the start of my third trimester, my belly had grown so much that even my loose clothes felt tight. Every time I walked down the hall at work, people smiled at me. "How are you feeling?" they would ask. "Big," I would joke, rubbing my stomach. At home, Mark kept busy getting everything ready. He assembled the stroller, washed baby blankets, and set up a rocking chair by the crib. One evening, he came home with a small stuffed rabbit. "For Emma," he said shyly. I held the rabbit to my chest and felt my eyes fill with tears. "She's going to love it," I whispered. Some nights, we sat together in the nursery, talking softly about the future. "Do you think we're ready?" I asked once. He thought for a moment, then said, "I don't know if anyone is ever ready, but we're willing." And somehow, that felt like enough. Around 34 weeks, my feet began to swell and my back hurt constantly. I moved slower at work. Even climbing the stairs to our apartment felt like a big effort. One evening, I was sitting on the couch with my legs propped up. when I felt a sharp pain low in my belly. I gasped and pressed my hand to my side. Mark rushed over. "What is it?" I'm not sure," I said, breathing through it. The pain eased after a minute. But the next morning, it happened again. We called Dr. Patel, who asked us to come in to check everything. At the clinic, she measured my belly and listened to Emma's heartbeat. "She's fine," she said gently. "But your body is starting to prepare. You need to rest more." When we got home, Mark insisted I stop working and stay on the couch. "I'm not an invalid," I grumbled. "I know," he said, smiling. "But you're my wife, and our daughter needs you to take it easy." So I did. Even though I felt restless, I knew he was right. The last few weeks felt endless. Every day I woke up wondering if this would be the day Emma decided to arrive. I had dreams where I was holding her, tiny, warm, and perfect. Other nights, I dreamed I was still pregnant forever, stuck in this heavy, aching body. Mark was patient through it all. He rubbed my back, cooked me meals, and never complained when I woke him up in the night because I needed help getting out of bed. One evening, as the sun set outside the window, I felt a deep calm settle over me. I rested my hand on my belly and felt Emma move, slow and steady. "You're almost here," I whispered. And in that quiet moment, I realized something important. Even though I was scared, even though it was hard, I was ready to meet her. 2 days past my due date, I woke up in the early morning feeling something different. It was a slow, tightening ache across my belly, stronger than the cramps I'd felt before. I tried to go back to sleep, but 20 minutes later, it happened again. And then again 15 minutes later. Mark was still asleep, his hand resting on my arm. I lay there quietly, counting the minutes between each pain. When the sun started to rise, I shook his shoulder gently. "Mark," I whispered. He opened his eyes, blinking. "What is it?" he inquired. "I think it's time," I said. He sat up so fast he almost fell out of bed. "Are you sure?" he asked, wide-eyed. I nodded. "The contractions are about 15 minutes apart." He took a deep breath. "Okay, we're ready." We got dressed and double-checked the hospital bag. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. At the hospital, the nurses checked me in and hooked me up to monitors. Dr. Patel came in to see me. She smiled warmly. "It looks like today is your daughter's birthday," she said. The contractions grew stronger as the hours passed. I held Mark's hand so tightly I thought I might break his fingers. "You're doing so well," he kept saying, over and over. At one point, the pain felt so big I thought I might drown in it. "I can't," I gasped. "I can't do this." "Yes, you can," he whispered. "You are doing it." I closed my eyes and tried to focus only on Emma, on her tiny heartbeat on the monitor, on the thought of holding her in my arms. Time blurred together. Hours passed. Finally, Dr. Patel's voice cut through the haze. "It's time to push, Sarah." I gathered every bit of strength I had left. It took everything, every breath, every ounce of will. And then, all at once, the pain broke. I heard a sharp cry fill the room. Someone laid something warm and small on my chest. I looked down and saw her, our daughter, Emma. She was red and wrinkled and perfect. My heart filled so full I thought it might burst. Mark was crying beside me, his hand covering his mouth. "She's beautiful," he whispered. I touched her tiny hand. "Hi, baby," I whispered through my tears. Hi, Emma. In that moment, I forgot the fear. I forgot the pain. All that remained was love. Deep, overwhelming, unbreakable love. And as I held her close, I knew that no matter what the future held, we would be okay. Because we were a family now, and nothing would ever change that.